Hi guys, I hope you are doing well. So today we have with us Mr. Arnab Bhattacharya. He's a certified personal trainer and sports nutritionist as well. So the two things we need the most right now. The person is here with us today. Yeah. So you can
Thank you
ask
so
all
much
of
for
your
having me.
questions. Sorry.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. Yeah. So I think this whole thing is powered by Fastener. And so should we start with the questions? We have few questions to ask. It is from our viewers actually, and
Okay.
then we can have the questions from them later on. So
Sure.
actually the lockdown is going on, right? So my
Mhm.
first question is based on that. So how are you
Okay.
coping up with this pandemic, and what's your mindset? How you keeping yourself positive?
So I'll start it with a very personal experience of mine. My wife has this habit where whenever I have shown her any science fiction movie, or if I have ever shown her any apocalypse sort of a movie, whether it was I Am Legend, 2012, even Contagion for that matter, she has her own word for it. She would call it, it's a bhusa movie. So that's her way of saying like it's a waste of my time. You made me watch a stupid movie. And very funnily speaking, when this entire thing happened, she works in a media house. She works for India Today. So she still had to go to work just the couple of days before the curfew finally got enforced by our Prime Minister. So she was still going to work, but gyms were closed. So, and my clients, they all said, let's stay home. So, I actually reacted in a very neutral manner. For me, it was like, okay, if things like this happen, this is what it's going to happen. But my initial attitude towards it was, if we get it, we all are going to get it at some point of time because the
Yeah.
rate at which it's spreading. Look at, I'm not going to talk about any mismanagement in India. It's a 1.3 billion population in our country. So it is going to spread. In the US, they're predicting 100,000 deaths.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, there are a lot of diseases in which people die.
Yeah.
But the problem is that the spike in which the people are dying in COVID-19. So the attitude actually for me initially was, okay, if I get it, big deal. So honestly speaking, if the gyms were still open and if my clients were still willing to train, I would do it. I think that's my take on it. But considering our lack of, or rather our inadequacy when it comes to our health infrastructure, it's better we all stay home because you don't want to go to the hospital in these times because the people who really need the care, for them
They
it's
should
there
get
for them, and you don't want to get it because you were irresponsible or because you exposed it, or you
it.
got exposed to somebody who carries it and then you got it.
Yeah.
So keeping those few things in mind, I think better to stay at home. But I'm honestly, my attitude towards it was, yeah, okay, big deal, this happens.
So let's move on to my next question, which is what is your work like routine? What do you do like from get up in the morning during this lockdown? What is your routine? If you can share that with us.
I try to have some form of a structure. Before all this happened, I used to wake up very early, start my day pretty, early, like 4:35 in the morning.
Yeah.
Now I'm just trying to at least wake up by 6:30, 6:45 because I have started training a few clients through Zoom and Google Duo. So I've got back to some form of a structure, but the first 10 days or so, I was just like sleeping till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, watching movies. But yeah, right now it's become more structured now. I'm actually in the process of writing a book. So
Yeah.
something that I was wanting to do for a long time. Yeah. So just 10 years I've been doing this as a nutritionist, as a trainer, and I felt I wanted to make a coffee table book which would just summarize all my experience, something that will just give people small pointers to go about their fitness on a day-to-day basis. So I've been talking about it for a long time, and I finally now have the time. So I'm penning down about 4 or 5 good points every day, taking the help of some close ones who are helping me sort of structure it. And other than that, yeah, I've thankfully got some equipments before the curfew came in, so I'm getting a workout in. Also fighting with my wife whenever I can. That's just all part of the day.
Yeah, it is. I think
Yeah,
more time you get to spend with the family and stuff, so it is the right time.
yeah.
Have you
Beyond a
thought
certain
any
point,
title?
pardon
Have you
me.
thought have you thought any title for your book?
How do I?
Have you thought any title for your book?
Um, I don't want to give away too much because it's still work in progress. But it goes something on the lines like, you know, a few tips to live long and live strong. So it's just very simple title. I want it to be something which is just going to be something that people can just pick up and read whenever they feel like. It's not too technical. Information that they can grasp, you know, and of course take reference of the, you know, the relevant research. But again, I don't want to misquote anything or mislead anybody. That happens a lot in our business. But just small things like, you know, drink more water, you know, get adequate sleep. But in that also, there are a lot of, you know, misconceptions. Like a lot of my clients, I tell them sleep for 8 hours and they'll say, okay, I went to sleep at 3 and I woke up at 11. No, that's not right. You know, you got to sleep by at least at a decent hour, like 10, 11 o'clock, wake up by maybe 6 or 7. That 8 hours of sleep makes sense.
So, what is the basic exercise that people can do or should do during this lockdown? Whichever you suggest.
So the first thing that a lot of people are going to get really irritated with is they're going to start experiencing a lot of stiffness. You know, you're just sitting around, you're not moving as much. So actually, a good form of training would be do some yoga or do some mobility work. Just stretch out, you know, things like that. Keep your spine, your hips, your shoulders, all of that very mobile. You know, you don't want those joints to lock up, and by the time you finally go back to the gym or whatever physical activity that you're into, you don't want to feel stiff. So in terms of exercise, I recommend that. Other than that, if they can do some basic calisthenics, floor exercises, that's great. And if they have equipment, I mean, you know, then just get a full workout in.
So, so is it good idea to work out during mental stress? When you're stressed, is it good idea to work out during that time?
Actually, for me, you know, honestly speaking, this is the best time to train because, you know, you've got all the good hormones flowing through you then. I mean, look, what are you going to achieve by stressing? And even if you are stressed, whether it's your, you know, so look, I mean, for someone like me also, you know, I'm going to lose so much money during this entire time period. I don't know what's going to come off my business when I get back, you know, to the point where, you know, I've even told my wife that, you know, we live in the heart of the city and we pay a substantial rent, and, you know, I might have to let go of this place and go and live with my dad for some time if my business is completely slumped. People's spending power is going to drop down, but at the same time, the flip side is that a lot of people are going to, you know, take health and fitness more seriously. But whether they are willing to spend on it or, you know, they will have, you know, I mean, the thing is, the business aspects, the health aspects, there are so many hundreds of stresses that people are going through. And at every level, you know, people are losing lakhs and crores and millions and billions of dollars, right?
Yeah.
So, how much can you really stress, you know? How much can you sit and keep worrying about that? I went through that for a few days, and some of my close friends who were talking to me said that, you know, I can sense the anxiety in your voice. So actually, that's something that's physically and mentally kept me sane is the fact that, you know, I'm just working out. You know, that physical exercise actually is, you know, counteracting all those effects, and it's tiring me enough where I go to sleep, I get restful sleep, and it's keeping me sane enough where I'm focusing on other things. So training during this time probably makes the most amount of sense than any other time.
That's good. That's good. That's inspiring. So, is it necessary to take dietary supplements? Which, and if it is, then which supplements do you suggest? Do you use?
You're asking that in general, or is that something that you're asking, like, you know, keeping the situation in mind?
I think in general also, and keeping the situation in mind as well.
Okay. All right. So, my perspective of dietary supplements, honestly, okay, so I'll give you a very straightforward answer here. Okay. Do you need dietary supplements? No. You don't. Okay. But here the condition is that you've got to get all your nutrition from your food then, right? Now, if I give you a small example, spinach, right?
Yeah.
10 to 15 years ago, the spinach that you would get, right, from our agricultural lands or whatever, from our farmers, that spinach today has 40% less iron than what was there before. You know, we are, you know, through the GMO crops and other things, because today it's a larger population, you know. In 1986, the time when John F. Kennedy was shot, the global population was somewhere around 3 or 4 billion. We are almost double that today, right? In 30 odd years, we are double that. So we have to produce more food, you know, so that means the amount of nutrients entering from the soil into the food is very minimum. So your macronutrients like your protein, your carbohydrates, your fats, your fiber, these you can get it from your whole foods. And in fact, you should get these from whole foods. A protein shake here and there or something is very optional, right? However, it's your micronutrients, your minerals and vitamins that you primarily miss out on. So to get those, it does make sense to supplement. So a good multivitamin or a vitamin C, especially vitamin C right now, is really helpful. A good multivitamin is very important. A vitamin D is very important. You know, fish oil, omega-3 is very important. Probiotics. So these are few supplements that I sort of swear by, and I by default give it to my clients because I don't rely on them enough that, you know, they will get those from foods. And, you know, because if you see, we live in a city, you know, so, you know, if I tell my clients with every meal have sauerkraut or curd, that might not be possible. Most of them might be grabbing a KFC or something on the go. So keeping those things in mind, it's just better I supplement certain micronutrients. But the macros like protein and things, if they can get it from food, why not? So it basically comes down to what a person is willing to do in terms of spending and investing and structuring their diet.
Okay. So do you recommend any like fastener brands or any, do you recommend people to do that who usually do take?
Oh, yeah. I mean, actually, you know, this is one of the brands that I had the honor of joining at a point where they were still very much of a startup. And I started with their multivitamins and few of their other products. So most of my clients fasten up products if they have to. So they use Fasten Up Vitalize, which is the multivitamin, Fasten Up Charge. Then their magnesium, which came out very recently. That's a beautiful product, Magnesio. Then I recommend Activate, which is a caffeine-free, stimulant-free pre-workout. Then they have an essential amino acid called Recover. So these are some amazing supplements that they have. And, you know, then the list goes on. They have electrolytes like Reload, very popular amongst runners especially. So these are just some of the products I recommend. And then on top of that, I use the Fasten Up BCAA for my intra-workout. I sometimes use the pre-workout on the days I'm really tired. They have their omega-3, which is a very beautiful product. And they recently also launched glutamine. Again, very important, keeping this time. In fact, we have, I think, Fasten Up glutamine and vitamin C are just running out of stocks. We still have stocks from what I know, but we're running out of stocks because we're just selling so much of it, keeping the situation in mind. Because glutamine and vitamin C are the most important supplements right now that you can take just to keep your immunity strong.
Okay, that's good. That's so much information we got today about those. So, what is your recommendation towards muscle soreness? We have DOMS after exercise. So, what do you tell your clients to do after if they have DOMS?
Okay, so DOMS, of course, is a little complicated as a subject. DOMS again stands for delayed onset of muscle soreness. Okay, and DOMS is a very, very complicated subject to explain. I mean, some recent research just came out that DOMS also happens not just because of lactic acid buildup or not just because of, you know, muscle soreness, but also because of nerve damage. Okay, so there's actual nerve damage also, which leads to DOMS. So DOMS is a very complicated subject. I would not actually correlate DOMS with muscle soreness. Okay, so if it is purely muscle soreness, there are some basic things you can do, like making sure you stretch after your workouts, making sure you do some mobility, getting some deep tissue work done once a week or once in 2 weeks. You can also use some of these guns like Theragun or a Hypervolt gun. Those help you, you know, relax those muscles a little bit. So these I have personally found to be very useful when it comes to reducing muscle soreness. In fact, if you manage to do all of them, you may barely have any soreness, just maybe a little bit of tightness. And again, the soreness mainly comes from what is your intensity of training. So ideally, a muscle shouldn't be sore for more than a day or two. But if the soreness is persisting longer than that, it's perhaps because you're not feeding the body well enough. So your nutrition also plays a huge role here. So making sure you get enough magnesium, enough protein. You also want to take some simple carbs during the workout or after the workout to, you know, sort of replenish your glycogen levels. So these are few things at a nutritional level and in terms of a physical therapy level that you can do to make sure that your soreness is not there. And of course, sleep. If you make sure you get good sleep, you should wake up, with barely any kind of soreness.
That's good. So, a lot of it's a question from our viewers. So a lot of people gather motivation from workout, like by being inside the gym arena. So how do you, as a personal trainer, maintain those clients' motivation inside their household? How you do live session right now? So how are you maintaining their motivation?
Honestly, again, it comes down to two things. Personally, I myself was very demotivated for a while. So to motivate others took a while. And I think the first 1 week or 10 days, a lot of my clients went through a phase where they were just trying to come to terms with the situation, in terms of their financial hits and other things. So it's only, I think, from the latter part of last week where they finally realized that, there's not much you can do. So I have just regularly been interacting with them, just talking to them as a friend, like, what's up, how are you doing, what's happening. And, I think we've reached a point now where we're sick of the WhatsApp forwards. We are sick of all the media information that's out there. What else can we do other than, stay at home and taking care of ourselves? So now that they have submitted and resigned themselves to that fact, it's reached a point now where they finally realize, okay, let's do this. So all I have honestly done is just keep in touch with them, talk to them, make myself available to them to just vent or just, confide in me in terms of whatever stresses they have. And I have constantly asked them as a suggestion that, why don't we get a workout in? Why don't we do a session? Why don't I send you some workouts? Just give it a try. Some of them are doing it, some of them don't. I mean, look, we're all adults. I can't hold somebody by the ear and do it, right? And you can send them as many Rocky videos and motivational videos and try to get them going. But I think one aspect is keeping in touch with them. Another is I have been also consistently posting workout videos and, constantly, keeping myself active on social media. So many of them follow me, so they have been watching those and being like, okay, fine, Arun's doing it, I might as well start doing it as well. So sometimes you just lead by example, So those are my pointers, just talk to your clients, be a friend to them at this point, because they have so many things to worry about beyond their fitness. And, if somehow you can instill it in them that just do that half an hour or 45 minutes of exercise every day, then, that's great.
Okay, so that will keep you moving, keep you healthy.
Absolutely. I mean, just to add to all of this, another worry that a lot of people have is, I'm going to lose out on all my progress. I'm having to eat ghar ka khana. There are a lot of rumors that people shouldn't eat non-veg. So many people are avoiding chicken and eggs and any other non-veg foods right now. So, as a coach right now, I'm just being as flexible and as submissive as I can be. And, just literally nodding yes to everything. As long as they are just doing the bare minimum and they have some kind of mental sanity and structure in their day. That's all that I know. Because if this lockdown doesn't extend beyond a certain period, then I'm sure that once things go back to normal, I can get these guys back to their original form and in fact, even in better physical shape very quickly. Because, thanks to things like muscle memory and stuff like that. Yeah. Not to mention, they'll all be just, dying to get back to training. But, I mean, we just have to be very understanding right now. There's no point lecturing them that, come on, you got to do it. And, it's not really their first priority.
That's true. So you have mentioned about veg and non-veg, that eating chicken, fish, like people are avoiding. Even I was avoiding seeing that, this COVID-19. So what is your thought on it? So should we avoid those things?
Not really. I mean, I'm eating eggs every day. I'm eating chicken every day. I'm eating fish. If you cook it, I mean, see, all these foods are cooked at my home. I mean, of course, I'm not eating anything, raw or anything. And even if it is kept overnight, we obviously microwave it. So my diet has actually not changed much at all. I'm actually very lucky that the area that I live in Bangalore, we still have access to all the groceries so far. So, I mean, maybe because it's a prime area, so there are still a lot of grocery stores and things like that. But, I mean, if these things are available to you, I see no reason why you need to avoid them. Just don't eat them raw and, of course, avoid ordering from outside. if you can
Yeah.
cook these things at home, they should be fine. They should be perfectly fine. But there is no research material or study or any interview by any doctor that I have come across which says that this will spread through animals in any form or shape. So I don't see any concern with it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you about
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I'll start eating then. So do you have any particular diet tips for like ectomorphic, endomorphic, or mesomorphic athletes, basically?
Honestly, I don't go too much by body types, because I probably was somebody who looked like an ectomorph back in my school days, but I probably look more like an endomorph today, or maybe even a mesomorph when I'm really in shape. So, I don't swear by body types. Body types can change to an extent as you, keep training, keep eating. So I look, for me, it simply starts by, number one, how many calories am I going to give this person? What's their fitness goal? What's going to be their training routine? And work backwards and then structure the diet according to that. And of course, whatever is missing, just add the right kind of supplements. That's the way I start. And honestly, you can be whoever, but even the best coaches in the world have to an extent, do things by trial and error. So when we see that a person, because nobody can predict a person's genetics, right? So when we start training some people, when we see how their genetics respond, how quickly are they losing fat, how quickly are they gaining muscle, which parts of their body are shaping up quickly, which body parts need more training, we then, modulate and manipulate the training according to that. But as such, there is no standard body type diet that you can give up, even though people may claim a lot of things.
Yeah. So it is from one of my views as well. So what would be your suggestions for the people who are now at home and have not trained much, but they want to start their training and they haven't tried much? So basically, you have mentioned the stretching exercise and all that they have done. So same basic exercise they have to maintain as well, that who didn't do it before, who want to start now?
If you're just starting out, I can personally tell you what I used to do. When I first, I think in 8th grade, that's when the bug of training really hit me. And I just started with very basic things. I started with pull-ups. I started with push-ups, squats, and just a lot of crunches, leg raises, crunches. So those are some 4 or 5 basic exercises you can do. In fact, there are tons of body weight exercises you can do. Everything from at a basic level, going up to a very advanced level as well. If you just go on YouTube, if you just follow somebody like, for example, Jeff Cavalier from Athlean-X, he posts some amazing content when it comes to training. So if you want to do a body weight exercise, and if you just go and look him up, you can see everything from a beginner workout program to an advanced, just from floor exercises. So those are my basic exercises to start with anybody. Build up your push-ups, especially women. They can't even do a normal push-up to start with, so they can start with like knee push-ups, and of course combine all this with some mobility work, some stretching, of course, because you want to stay loose as you're doing these things. And of course, whenever the gym opens, and if you feel you want to go and train there, you can do that. There are a lot of people I know who have always sworn by training at home. They have, like, my dad is one of those people. He just has a basic set of dumbbells, and he's 73. And, he was not somebody who grew up with the luxuries of gyms around him. So he still works out at home every day. He gets up. He used to do gymnastics when he was in college. Yeah. So he has his own routine of stretching, yoga, a little bit of body weight exercises, and some resistance training. So if you just do that, believe me, if you just manage to spend a good 30-45 minutes of that consistently every day, and combine that with a little bit of brisk walking or jogging, you can be in great shape. You don't really have to do these fancy things. The problem is everybody wants results overnight. Yeah. People look at 3 months transformations, 4 months transformations, and they're like, if he could do it in 3 months, can I also do it? And that's where the problem is. So I don't know what to say to people when they come with that kind of limited time periods. But of course, whatever experience I have, I've also managed to help people get it in those timelines. but it's a very taxing process when you come with that kind of expectation, because we can help you achieve it, but it really mentally burns out the person, because they've got to diet like they've never dieted before. They've got to train and prioritize this. So my suggestion is for people who are starting out, if you can be patient, if you can give yourself the gift of time, and just with small changes every day, if you just, be consistent, you can achieve a great physique over a period of time. I mean, do it as a lifestyle habit. Don't do it just because you want to impress your friends or girlfriend or, whatever.
Yeah. So, as I was seeing your profile, I saw that you have done bachelor's in pharma. So what is the inspiration behind changing your profession?
Honestly, pharmacy actually has played a lot into my career. I don't know if you're aware, but right after I did my pharmacy, I did for a few months, try to be a trainer with a Gold's Gym near my house. And that didn't go down so well. So I actually worked in corporate real estate for a while, where I just got into hardcore marketing and selling, and I thought maybe I'll do an MBA and carry from there. But life happened. I lost my mom in 2012. Perspective in life changed. Suddenly, making money didn't make sense to me anymore, and I went through this phase where, like, for 3-4 months, I just went underground. I wasn't talking to anybody. I had a girlfriend of 5 years. I broke up with her. So I went through that sort of a journey and literally reset and restarted my life. And it just so happened that fitness was just something as a hobby that I was always doing. And, I had done my certifications. I have been training since the age of 14, 15. So, I mean, I had the knowledge base, to be honest. And in pharmacy, we study subjects like human anatomy, biochemistry, and those subjects add a lot of value when you do these certifications also. So it so happened that even though I started only at an age of 26, 27, I already had a decent base knowledge to start with. Then as the years went and as I gathered experience coaching people, doing diet counseling, training and all that, I just, could grasp things better, and, next thing I know, I'm coaching people, training people. So it's pretty much what has been. So pharmacy actually played very strongly into my into my career choice right now. And honestly, we don't actually have any fitness related courses. I mean, what I offer as a service is personal training and sports nutrition. So the closest thing you have to personal training in our country is physiotherapy.
Yeah.
So physiotherapy, okay, at least will teach you some aspects of biomechanics and things like that. But that's a very therapeutic sort of a route. And many physiotherapists don't believe in the concept of personal training themselves, because, they have a certain understanding of how the body should be and things like that. And at the same time, if you go and do something like clinical nutrition, the clinical nutrition, the information that they unfortunately learn is so outdated. Unless a clinical nutritionist takes the initiative to learn more and update themselves, if they just come out of college and say, this is what I know, then right away they will discount supplements. You go to any clinical nutritionist, their standard dialogue is eat lots of fruits and vegetables, which is fine, but they don't really understand the concept of macros and other things. They'll say, okay, World Health Organization says I should give you 1 gram of protein per kg of body weight. Yeah, but that's for a normal person. So considering those things, I'm glad I did not do a course in nutrition or physiotherapy. I'm glad I did something like pharmacy, because in pharmacy we get very in-depth into things like anatomy and biochemistry. And so, when it came to understanding sports nutrition, supplements at a technical level, it was very easy for me, because in pharmacy we actually make those things. To the point where we are even taught how to make lipsticks, talcum powders, all of that. So you spend 4 hours studying, you spend 4 hours in the lab. So because of all those lab hours and everything put together, pharmacy played really well. But I don't suggest people that if you want to take up a career in fitness, you do pharmacy. If you have the choice, go abroad, study kinesiology or exercise physiology or sports nutrition, because then you will learn the relevant things. And I keep getting questions like that all the time on my Instagram that, I just passed my 12th standard or I just did my undergraduation. What do I do now? Get out of this country. That's what you can do, because go and study the relevant material and maybe then you can come back here and work. So, that's what I would suggest.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. So we'll take some questions from our viewers. So one of them, Arshi Yasin, she's a CEO of The Bridge. She's asking, Is there any guarantee that if my immunity is good and I won't die of coronavirus?
If your immunity is good, will you not die of the coronavirus? Let's hope you don't. But honestly speaking, none of us are immune to the coronavirus because, sadly speaking, the people who are getting it also are, undergoing relapse. Some of them are getting it back. I was reading some articles today where some people got it, they went into quarantine, they recovered, then they tested negative. Few weeks later, they once again tested positive. So this is a disease that's here with us. It's going to be with us. And until we come up with vaccination, the only treatment is symptomatic relief. Okay? So, for example, even if you look at dengue, right? Dengue also is a pretty dangerous disease and it does spread, not as badly as this, but it does spread pretty quickly. And there is no treatment as such for dengue also. You can only suppress the symptoms. So that's just one of those things. If you get it, how your body is going to react to this is very difficult to say. You could be the healthiest person in the world and you could have very adverse reaction to this disease. Or you could be somebody who even smokes and drinks and gets this disease and will just walk away with it. So deep down, how exactly it's going to affect you is a big question mark. We don't really know. But yeah, having said all that, does it hurt to have good immunity? In general, no. Does it hurt to remain active, eat healthy? No. So do your best because if you get it, and I'm sure everyone will at some point of time, it's here with us. This disease is here with us to stay. It just, doesn't hurt your chances as long as you have good immunity. That would be the most neutral answer I can give you.
That's we can do our bit. Right. So we have Mr. Salim. He has asked that, is it true that immunity does indeed increase by taking external vitamin sources? So does it help, basically?
Subject of immunity is still very misunderstood. Even for that matter, the subject of gut health itself is a very new subject. So to be very honest, nutrition itself is something that most governments don't spend a lot of money on. So your guess is as good as mine. But again, these are just the disclaimers I can give you because I'm not, I cannot factually state anything. Yes, if you take it, it's going to help you. But maybe it will. Maybe it will. So if you have access to these vitamins, if you have access to these supplements, take them because it's just not going to hurt your chances. If you get it, your chances of managing and surviving through any health disease is going to be better. Not just this. What people are not understanding is that in the course of this entire disease, when we recover, a lot of people are going to go through mental depression, physical stress, anxiety, and those things can manifest into larger lifestyle disorders for you, right? People can, go into depression, they can develop obesity, they can develop, other health disorders, heart disease, high blood pressure. You've got to start thinking about those right now. You actually may be stressing over coronavirus, but that might actually lead to something else. So you've just got to manage your health. So in general, if you thought that taking a vitamin was going to help you to just maintain your health better, then just continue taking it or start because it's just pays to have good health. So just do it. But with very specific focus to this particular disease, again, we don't know.
It's still going on. So so one of the viewers as well, he's asking that in sports nowadays, injury prevention is more important than cure. So can nutrition play any role in that?
Oh, absolutely. Nutrition is king when it comes to recovery for any sports. So, depending on which sport it is, of course, having a balanced diet helps, where everything from getting the right micronutrients, macros are there. Over and above that, let's say you have a sport where let's say you're into mixed martial arts. So, your joints take a lot of beating, there's a lot of bruises and things. So supplements like omega-3 can reduce inflammation. Collagen is known to be a proven joint supplement. So these things can help. So nutrition is very important for recovery when it comes to sports. Doesn't matter which sport it is. Even if it is something as mundane as golf, even there people need it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I think that's it for today. We don't have any more viewers' questions. It was very, very nice talking to you, sir. I hope.
Thank you so much.
I hope this lockdown, it ends soon and we all can go back to our respective life.
Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your questions. Thanks so much for your time. Thank you everybody for your questions. I hope I did justice to you with the answers. And if anybody has any other questions post this session, please DM me. I would love to answer them and you guys can get back to them.
Okay. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.